13 seconds in, it'll be like, gotcha, you're here.
Found you. Yeah, I forget what the delay is. We have to do that like when Chloe and I do our 8-bit show, or I guess even when you do the 8-bit show with us.
I know that show.
That's why we have that intro video, because we live stream to Microsoft Learn, we live stream to Twitch, and we live stream to YouTube, and they all have different like buffer times, and so that intro video kind of lets all of them catch up, and then once we go live, we know we're live. Whereas when we first started, there'd be like 10 seconds missing from the Twitch stream or whatever it might have been. So that's our cheat pro tip for anybody out there looking
it's
to
a
get
good song though too. Did she find that song or did you?
Oh, the new one? That was all Chloe. She made the video, she did the animations, she did the music, and I love it.
Right.
But I have no idea how she did it. she was like, oh, I made a new intro video. I was like, this is amazing.
This is real good. You done real good.
You did good, kid.
I was really, really, really into chiptune music for a while. So any 8-bit music, I'm always like, ooh, who is that? In Orlando, we used to have a weekly event at a comic book store called A Comic Shop that had built a bar in the back called the Geek Easy. And it was all geek culture. Like they had like old NES manuals under epoxy for the bar top. They had painting of like anime and like cartoons, and they had like a Ninja Turtles cabinet and stuff. And now the Geek Easy is its own bar next door. It's its own entity now. But they used to have chiptune shows on Saturdays there, so I would go and listen to people like Roboctopus and Boy Without Batteries, and these are guys that are making music with Game Boys. And there's a cartridge you can insert into a Game Boy called, I think it's like it's some sort of LSD joke, but it's not, because people do a lot of drugs in the community. LSDJ is what it was called. It gives you access to the soundboard, all the sounds in the Game Boy, and you can write music with it. And then you plug it, you plug in the audio out, you put it into a mixer, and a lot of guys have 2 Game Boys with LSDJ in there, and they can pull up songs that they've saved on there, and they like DJ a whole show.
That's really cool.
It was a ton of fun. I spent a lot of time there. A lot of time. My wife had to tell me, you can't keep buying a comic book every time you go, because you're spending $30 on your tab and you're buying $25 comic books and you're spending $200 a month on this. And I was like, but it's fun.
Oh man, that's how I feel living in Napa now. Like, what do you do in Napa but go to wineries all the time?
Right.
And yeah, like if you walk away with a bottle of wine every time, like those bottles of wine aren't cheap. They're like,
sure ain't.
Like an average bottle from a winery is like $30.
Yeah.
And it just goes higher from there. Like,
yeah,
but $60 bottles, $120 bottles. It's like,
and that's why you become a member instead.
Then they get your subscription money.
That's right.
But yeah, it's like we'll be like, oh, I feel bad. Like, they were so nice. Like, we should get a bottle. And it's like, or just like leave a tip.
That's still money, you know?
Although we did, a friend of ours, coworker, David Smith, he hooked us up with a free wine tasting. And so
that's nice.
Yeah, it was really cool. This beautiful winery that I'm blanking on, Tres Sabores, and just like this bucolic, beautiful view of just the rolling hills of Napa Valley, and just looking out over this winery. And yeah, we got to hang out there for 2 hours and drink free wine, and so we did buy a bottle then. It was like, we should.
That's supporting, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Like, you hooked us up, we'll hook you up, and I'm sure we ended up still saving money. But
yeah.
Speaking of wine,
I have one more question before we actually move on. Did you ever do any Florida wineries?
Oh, I did, man. There was a winery that I always drove past back when I was in college. So I was driving up to Gainesville. I forget the winery's called, but
Lake Ridge.
The one on the turnpike?
Yeah.
And they use the muscadine grape, which if you've never had muscadine wine, you might not like it. At least that was my opinion. It's a very bold
There's a
grape.
lot happening in all their wines.
You'll taste it. It comes through.
Oh,
and God. Yeah, we did a tasting. I was like, I don't like any of these.
Not a single one. Not a single. And I feel bad, but like every single one was like, it felt so sweet. And then they were like, try this champagne. We pour sugar directly into the bottle for this process. And I was like, why? It's already so sweet. Oh my God. It was...
But I mean, some people love it. I know some folks that love muscadine wine.
If that's what you like, go for it, man. But like, that's not the kind of thing I'd ever be like, you got to try this. You know what I mean? Yeah. Speaking of super sweet wines, that does remind me of EF Core migrations, doesn't it?
What? Yeah. So we're kind of picking up where we left off. It's been a while since we've hung out, but the last show we did ended with us. Well, we were unit testing, and then we hit a blocker in our unit tests because we were using the in-memory database, which started out fine. We got some successful unit tests going, and then we wrote one test and just kept failing. And then we found out it was failing because it was using the in-memory database. And so we spent like the whole show digging into it, trying to figure it out. And then after the show, I kept digging into it, trying to figure it out. And turns out there's a couple problems. So
yeah,
we are using two different databases for the production website and the unit tests. And one thing we have to work with is the production database we're using is MySQL. And we are locked into that because the free tier on Azure gives you a free MySQL database. So I don't know, unless one of us or maybe somebody streaming wants to throw down a credit card, we are locked into MySQL database for production.
Yep.
So it's like, great. Excuse me. But then for unit testing, MySQL, perfect timing. MySQL does not offer an in-memory database option, or at least not that I could find.
It sure doesn't seem that way.
We were using, and I'm pretty sure it's SQLite, right?
That's what it's SQLite now.
And let's just double check. Scroll down to that unit test project and just show the dependencies. Yeah, there it is. Entity framework core.SQLite. So
yep.
So we were pushed to SQLite for testing so that we could use an in-memory database. And this is all kind of new to me. I learned that you do want to unit test on an in-memory database. That way there's no file that's saved to disk. That can cause all sorts of problems in your tests because then you have an actual database that you're testing against, and maybe there's going to be leftover residuals from the previous test still in that database if it's saved to the disk. So you don't want to do that. We want to use in-memory. I'm here for it. But MySQL and SQLite, they're different databases and they have different rules. And it turned out we were using... actually, pull up this pull request I sent. I want to make sure I get these terms right. Actually, let's pivot and talk about that real quick.
Yeah.
That's going to block the screen anyways. GitHub Desktop just came out with this new feature that allows you to drag and drop to cherry pick. And I've been using it a ton lately, but I'm curious, PJ, do any of those words mean anything to you?
I know what drag and drop is. So cherry pick, I imagine, is saying... So in a pull request, there's several things that may have been changed. And I imagine cherry picking allows you to say, well, just this change, not all of it. I just want these changes.
Yeah, pretty much. And it doesn't have to be. So yeah, a cherry pick allows you to take one commit from any branch and bring it to a different branch. Mm-hmm. And so I use it all the time where, actually, so most recently I've been working a ton on the Xamarin Community Toolkit, which is, if you're a Xamarin developer out there, awesome NuGet package to add to your library. It's kind of, the toolkit is all that code that you typically copy paste from app to app for your Xamarin Forms apps. That just gives it to you for free. Nice. So you don't have to do that anymore. But the way we structure that repo is we have a main branch, or the main branch, it's also called main, where that's where we will make our releases. It's where we make our bug fixes. And you can feel fairly confident that the main branch matches the latest NuGet package, unless like we fixed a bug or two since. But then for new stuff, like new features, we have a develop branch. And so that's where all the new features get submitted. And then once we go to release a new version of the toolkit, we'll do a pull request from develop to main, release it, blah, blah, blah. But since we're fixing all the bugs on the main branch, those bugs still exist on the develop branch until we merge that branch in. Mm-hmm. So what I'll do is, and what I've done a couple times, is I'll cherry pick that commit from main and bring it to develop. Because otherwise, yeah, you'd have to go through, basically just, you'd have to like open up a pull request, or you do like a merge commit, or there's a lot more overhead. And now the GitHub desktop tool lets you do it here in the GUI. So if you wanted to, go ahead and click got it. So like, let's say you can see my PR here has a couple commits as I was trying to figure stuff out. I was like, I think I got it. And then I didn't got it. But yeah, let's say like you just wanted that first one, like that fix unit tests. You wanted to bring that into your main branch. You can cherry pick this using drag and drop now. So if you just drag it, and don't let go, don't drop it, but hover over, where that tooltip is, where it shows the current branch at the top center of the screen. And now, if you dropped it into main, this commit would be cherry picked into main or any of the other branches. So yeah, it's a way you can just take one commit from one branch and bring it to another branch. And you might be thinking like, okay, that's cool, but can't I just also make the fix on that other branch? Well, if you did, then you would have a different commit ID. Like you see on your screen, how do I describe this? So like top middle, that number right there, actually exactly where your mouse is.
Yeah, that's what I figured that was.
That's what the SHA hash code, blah, blah, blah for this specific commit. So if you made this same exact change on a different branch, even though the code change was the same, it would have a different hash code. And when you try to merge those together, all Git knows is I have this unique commit here, I have this unique commit here, and now you're trying to bring them together, and I don't know what to do. You're going to have a merge conflict.
Yeah.
Whereas if you do a cherry pick, well, when you do that pull request, it's just going to look at it and say, oh yeah, that's the same commit. Okay, yep, I know the timeline. I know exactly how to handle that. And then you don't have to worry about merge conflicts. So super cool tool. Not what we're talking about today.
We had to show that off. That's exciting.
We came here because I wanted to see... something. So go to the... Oh, I know. Click on show on GitHub so we can see the diff.
And let me pull it over to my screen share first real quick, because it came up on stuff.
I'll kind of walk you through, because PJ and I haven't even talked about this yet. I sent him the PR, and we tried it, and it didn't work. So we're going to try and... that's what we're going to fix today. But it was one of those like, dang, the PR's failing. We'll just fix it on the next stream. And then we took a couple weeks off.
Yep. We were busy. There was Easter, and I was tired, and a lot of things happened.
Yeah. Life
All
happens.
right.
So yeah, if you go to Files, Change, you can kind of see what, that tab there, top middle. You kind of, we can start seeing some of the thought process. So
Changing .NET here. Apparently, we still had 3.
yeah, so that was one thing. I started doing these database migrations, and I kept getting yelled at. It was like, you're using old tools. And I'm like, no, I literally just installed the latest .NET
Yeah.
EF Core tools. But yeah, this JSON file at the top
Yeah.
will force everybody who uses your repo into a specific version. So
Okay.
yeah, I had to update that. That's just a using statement.
Yeah.
Pretend
All the
like those
GitHub
don't exist.
actions.
So, yeah, this was some logic I found that we weren't necessarily. It works, but it like had a potential for future bugs.
Yeah.
These are these are the default values for the models or the entities that we were putting in the database, and we basically set up EF Core to handle these for us automatically. So anytime anything new is submitted to the database, it would have a default timestamp where the created at, the updated at timestamp was what we thought was the date time UTC now value.
Yeah.
But turns out it was actually just the date time UTC now of when the app started running.
Okay.
So I started adding things to the database, and they all had the same created at timestamp. I'm like,
Oh, that's weird.
that's not the current time.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I think this fixes it. But that's not even what this pull request is about. That was just kind of like,
It's just little things that got fixed.
leave the code better than you found it.
Here's the initialize.
This is also another leave code better than you found it. Learned that Entity Framework Core had all the async methods, and so wanted to take advantage of those where we could to,
Good.
Once this website scales and we have millions of users a day, I don't want to overload any threads.
Totally going to happen. Actually, in an interview with someone, I was talking about, they mentioned that they're like, oh, I saw that you have like a poet on your like resume or somewhere. I said that I'm a poet because I'm trying to get people to know that I take writing seriously. And they said, at first I was like, yeah, okay. But then I looked at the website you built and I was like, oh, he's actually really into poetry. And I was like, yeah, my goal is to get it so my website crashes and I have to pay for it eventually.
Cool. This is auto-generated code from EF Core when you do the migrations. So you can skip past this. What I'm looking for, there's a model. Nope, that's auto-generated too. Yeah, anything in that migrations folder is made. Okay, here we go. The author's model. Yeah. This is what changed. Okay, that's right. So I remembered there was a GUID, but I didn't remember which direction. If we started with GUIDs and we changed it, but
we, at the very, very, very beginning, we tried to have it as a GUID and then found out we couldn't and we had to do it as an int. And now we're going to be switching.
We're coming full circle.
That's right.
So for the production database, we're using MySQL. For the unit testing, we're using SQLite. SQLite doesn't let you use ints for your database's primary key. And so this is really the goal of this pull request, is to change this from an int to a GUID. But we have this existing production database that all the primary keys are ints. And so this is a breaking change, and we have to do a database migration. And that's what we got to figure out in the stream today. We got to figure out how to get this working, because one of the problems I had working on this locally is I don't have and couldn't get it MySQL working on my local computer. So once I thought I had everything figured out, that's when I opened up the pull request and said, hey, PJ, can you try it out on your machine? Because you have MySQL installed and running.
That's right.
And see if this migration works. And so now, we're going to... Hey, look at that.
Yeah, I found this the other day down in here, actually. Way easier than going into the actual like settings and stuff. So yeah, let's get MySQL going, which it's been so long that I've forgotten.
Yeah, so the interesting thing with what we're going to be doing today, it's going to be a little painful, because we are locally testing the database migration. And so what we have to do is every time we test the new code, we have to first reset the local database. So we want to have that local database back using the original schema that matches the production schema. Then when we run this code, it'll do the migration to the new schema, and we'll see where it is breaking. So
Yep.
So yeah, the first thing we want to do is double check that local DB and make sure that everything is still using ints and not GUIDs, that we didn't migrate already. Because if we did, we'll have to delete it. That looks like ints. Yeah. Okay.
Pretty sure that's an int.
And so, yeah, there might be times today where we have to. It's going to be so annoying. But yay, programming. PJ, you'll have to switch branches back to your main branch, delete the database locally, run the code from the main branch so it automatically creates the original database again. Then we'll jump back to the PR branch, fix whatever we think was the problem, run it, and cross our fingers in hopes that the migration works.
Listen, I'm glad you know what's going on, but that's all I'm saying. All right.
Database migrations are not something to take lightly.
No. Especially not SQL lightly.
I'd rather us... Because, let's be honest, right? Like, we don't have a huge amount of traffic to this website. If we push this to production right now and we broke the website...
Who does
it's not
it hurt?
like we're...
Like,
yeah, like, we don't have a business around it. We're not making revenue off the website.
Yeah.
It's just a fun project. And
but if you do want to buy me a coffee, you can do so at my website. So I'd love some revenue from it, actually. Very much like that.
And but yeah, so all that being said, like, the way we're doing it here is the proper way to do it. And so why not, like, since neither of us have done this before, let's follow the right path. Let's figure out how to do this, or we should be doing this in production. And because worst case scenario, we miss a step, we blow up the production database, and then whatever,
we revert back to the old version and we're fine. We should check that we have a version that's recent. Just thought of that, actually. And releases, that was February 21st. 13 commits to main since this release.
Oh, what have we changed?
That's a very good question.
Yeah, that's cool.
It was just adding. It was adding testing.
I was just thinking to myself, like, I know there's a cool feature in GitHub where it'll like compare the two, and I think if you scroll down more, eventually it'll show you the files, right?
Yeah. Change
okay,
files.
So we updated the README. This is probably the unit testing code.
README and unit tests, but the unit tests aren't working.
Init only.
This was when we had changed it to is in memory, and I think we changed that back in your pull request or somewhere.
I think so too. Yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh yeah, the new NuGet package from Oracle. That's right. So many memories.
Yeah, man. Yeah, tests.
Yeah, none of that's necessarily production website logic. That's
So I think it'd be okay to make a version. Do we want to, or should we just keep it in the Git for now?
Actually, yeah. Let's. We are blowing up databases. That's right.
That's right.
Yeah, actually, we should create a new version because we did change that SQLite NuGet package. For anybody who missed the last stream, Oracle finally released a new NuGet package for .NET 5 and EF Core 5 for MySQL. So, yeah, technically, I don't think we changed any of our code, but we're using a new NuGet package. So, yeah, let's call it
3.3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking 3.2.3.
Oh, that works for me too.
But I mean, it's your website, man. You can
Look, man,
call it
I've just been making up numbers. Every time I commit to main, it's a whole new version. I'm on version 27.
That's what Google does. Like if you look at Chrome, the version of Chrome is, I don't even know what it is anymore, like 80 something. Like it's like 80 dot blah 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 dot blah blah blah. Like
80. Oh, Chrome.
Yeah, I mean, I always think of, I save that first number as if there's like a new feature, like a glaringly new feature, or if I broke something that'll impact the user. Like if I removed a previous feature that maybe only one person was using, that's when I change the major version number.
Yeah. Updating just before breaking databases.
That's right. With
all right,
community
let's publish
tab.
that release, and then it's gonna automatically go to Azure, isn't it? Actually, no. Every time we've been committing to main, it's been automatically updating on Azure.
That's true.
Because we have actions on there, so we didn't have to worry about this at all. Like, it was just updating the version as opposed to actually updating like the production website. So we've been good this whole time.
Yeah, we probably should have created the version last time
Of course.
All right, shame on us.
Yeah.
We're catching up.
Look, we're learning. This is a learning process. Please come learn with us.
If you go to the Actions tab, I'm curious if creating a new release kicked off an action. I don't think it did. I think we said only commits and pull requests.
I'm pretty sure it's only commits and pull requests, yeah.
See that green check there on the pull request? It's a lie. Well, it just means the code compiled.
Yeah. This is lying to you. It doesn't work at all.
That's right. The code compiled and the unit test pass. But
yeah. Which we forced
unit tests don't know about the production database, so
yeah. Right.
We're having this learning experience together.
That's right. Thank you, community time, for learning with us. I do appreciate you.
Oh, community time. I get it now.
See? Everyone, I know Chloe's not here, but she would appreciate the pun immensely.
It's funny, right? Not until you said it out loud. It's like communal tea time. Yeah, totally.
That's right. We should all drink tea. I like sharing tea with people. All right, so first step, Sir Brandon, what should it be?
All right, so we confirmed that the local database running on your machine looks like our production database, like that ID.
Yep.
I wonder. Oh, let's double check thing. You have that drop down on the left that says columns. Open that up. Does it show what? Yeah. Does it tell us like what ID is, or?
Let's see.
Can you click on columns? Does that do anything? I just kind of want to see the schema. Just to make sure, like, because technically, no, one can't be a valid GUID, so it has to be an int.
There's no way one's a GUID. No.
Like, it would, if anything, it would be like 000 dash 0000000.
Name. Okay. No, I don't know, dude. I mean, we can. Oh
wait, no, I see it. The box below, it says column ID, definition ID, int. So, okay.
Sweet, there it is.
Boom.
Depeche knows.
That's Glenn. What's going on, Glenn? Thanks for joining us. Glenn's awesome. We hung out in technically wasn't in Brussels, but near Brussels. Last time I was able to travel to Europe.
I love that movie.
And I got tricked into drinking because Belgium is known for amazing beers, and I was at the hotel and I like grabbed a beer out of there was like a lounge fridge, and it ended up being non-alcoholic beer. I was like, what is this? Like,
I've been fooled. I've had like 13 of these.
I didn't even know these were legal in Belgium. Like, Belgium's very, very beer forward.
Non-alcoholic beers are important when that's what you want.
Right. Like I was like, oh, I get to try out some like really good Belgian beer. Can't wait. So
All
gave
right.
me a hard time for that last time. Yeah. So
Do
it
it
looks like,
for sure.
yeah. So let's see. We're going to do a lot of branch switching today, or hopefully we just fix it in the first go. We don't have to.
Hey, listen, it's one shot. That's always happened to us, right? We've never gotten sidetracked for 3 months. All right.
Never.
So I'm going to go to my desktop.
Okay, we're still on the PR branch. So yeah, if you run the code right now, what's going to happen is it'll launch your website and it'll automatically migrate the database because we have it set up so anytime the website launches, that EF Core checks to see if there's a migration available. If there is, it'll do it.
Okay.
And I think this is where it crashed and why we didn't merge it in last time. So let's give it a shot. Let's see what happens.
I clicked the play button. I actually added a new poet to the website using the Add a Poet page. Maggie Smith, I bought her book recently and added her to using the Add a Poet page, then went in and verified her on Azure. It was awesome. And she's on the production page now.
Love it.
I love it. Oh, Maggie Smith, 2016 poem of the year called Good Bones. Oh.
Whoa.
Awesome poem. Just heartbreakingly amazing.
All right. There's an error.
Did you already see one?
Right. In the command prompt. So that one, yeah.
Oh, fail.
Exception occurred. Unable to cast object from int32 to byte. And so, not surprising. So basically what it's saying is we have like the number 1 in the database. How do I turn that into a GUID?
Yeah.
And that's a good question.
I feel like there should just be a converter somewhere.
So let's check something real quick because I don't think the migration happened. If we got this error message, so is the database still ints and not GUIDs? I hope it is because this will save us a lot of time. We won't have to reinitialize the database and test all this stuff again. Yep, I see it again in that bottom window.
Yeah.
We're looking at it. So yeah, still ints. Okay. So basically we'll have to tell EF Core somewhere in this migration logic how to handle this. So what I'm thinking is we just generate a new GUID for every row.
Right.
GUIDs, it's something like 10 to the 30th, if I remember correctly, odds of getting like, there's 10 to the 30th different combinations of letters and numbers.
Yeah.
I might be making that number up, but it's in the billions.
It's a biggins.
Sure,
it's biggins, yeah.
So the chance of us getting a collision with 9 entries in our database, pretty low. I'm feeling good about that.
Not 0. Pretty low.
So let's go to that auto-generated code in that migrations folder and see how it was generated. And let's see. So I'm looking at the file name. This file is 2020. So this was the previous migration. Let's go to that next one.
That's
March 2021.
Yeah. March 22. That's the last one we did, yeah.
Yeah, so the way these migrations work, you have this up method and you have a down method.
Okay.
And before I forget, PJ, go ahead and you can click the stop button so we're not...
Yeah, that's right. Thank you.
Running the app anymore. I mean, it already crashed on us.
Yeah, it died.
So yeah, what the EF Core migration tool does, it generates an up method, which tells us how to go from the database schema that we have now to the new schema.
Okay.
And then if you scroll down, you can probably guess there's a down method that does the opposite. So if you ever had to roll back changes, so like maybe you had a successful migration, then all of a sudden somebody comes busting through the door and they're like, the website's broken.
Just run the down method.
Yeah, we'll say easily roll back. And what's kind of cool with this, let's focus on the up method, PJ, because we're going up right now.
We sure are. All
but
the way up.
You can see what it's doing. So, like, actually, you just landed on exactly the line of code we should be looking
that's
at.
what I figured we needed, right?
Because, yeah, it's saying
type
that we need to alter this column. And, yeah, so somewhere we need to tell it how to convert the int. Let's see. If you scroll up a little bit more, is there any other code that's not like dot alter column? Or is it literally all alter column? There's some extra cruft in here because I updated that timestamp logic. Mm-hmm. Oh, and actually you can see right here. See that old default value? It was literally just creating new datetime offset. So that's why we kept getting the same timestamp for every new created thing. Because basically that timestamp was hard-coded 2020, December 20th.
Yeah.
So hopefully this fixes that bug. The new one will actually pass in, it'll use SQL logic. So SQL knows how to get the current timestamp. Mm-hmm. And so hopefully that's what this is doing. I'm not a database expert. We're figuring this out together. But yeah, so it's altering that column. And I already forgot. If you go all the way up, is there anything else in here that's not dot alter column?
No, it's all alter column.
And even at the bottom?
Yeah, man. And even in down.
All right. So I'm going to Google. Let's see. EF core migration change int to GUID. Because apparently I already clicked on this link in Stack Overflow. So let me bring up my screen and we can Google together. So what's better than Googling with a friend? All right, let's see. Share screen.
Do it.
Share my Microsoft Edge. Boop. And bam. Hold on, let me customize my cookies. No. You know, it's interesting how they give you a button for like opt into all of these. And it's like, but where's the button to opt out of all of these?
Exactly.
That's a dark pattern, friends. So, I want to change the ID field to a GUID, but I can't seem to get past the error. I wonder what error he's getting. Identity must be... it's a different error.
And that one's saying it must be of type int. It's saying it can't be a GUID, but we know that for SQLite it needs to be a GUID, right?
Yeah. So actually, this is interesting. So get slightly different error, but we might be able to leverage this. So this person says you can tell it to drop the primary key, drop a column, add a column,
and then add a primary key.
And then, reset that as a primary key.
I mean, it's just dropping columns. Like, I'm fine with that. No big deal.
Really? Because I'm terrified.
That's why we're not doing it on the production database.
That's true, yeah. We can do whatever we want locally and not have to worry about it. So somebody else actually put together... Yeah, see, this was my concern. Like, this person calls out, it's a great recommendation, but it really only works on empty tables because when you start dropping columns, you're going to drop data, and we'd rather just convert it.
Right.
And it looks like they made a method called convert that'll take a bool and I assume turn it into a GUID. To GUID, add column. Oh, interesting. So it looks like they are adding the column. But they're adding it and they're calling it ID2, which I don't love. But let's see. Then for each... there's some logic here.
Foreign
keys. We don't have any... Well, we might have foreign keys. Actually, we do have foreign keys.
Yeah.
It's just so easy. Man. So I mean,
all of that creates. Look what it does for their up-down functions.
Yeah, I know, right? Like the
Convert.
up-down.
True. Download token.
Yeah, I'm just trying to. There's a lot of stuff going on here. So like drop foreign key for child and children. Children is going to be what? They're not even passing in children here. So okay, got a mystery.
Children is that's a parameter object? No, that's an array up there.
Yeah, that params keyword means you can add in as many children as you want.
Okay.
So if we were typing this out, you could say true, comma, they put download token here. Not sure why yet. But then you could say like comma, what was children, a string? So then you could add another string. Then you could say comma, another string, comma, another string.
Okay.
And then what this params keywords does, it'll take all those strings that you just kind of put in as individual strings
and
combine them into an array.
Okay.
And then like what he's doing is iterating over it here.
Yeah.
But
if you're not inputting children, you don't need it.
Yeah, it kind of makes me nervous though. Like what's a child? He doesn't, or maybe I skipped over an explanation. You can see up, down, also handles tables references, the table you're trying to convert from into GUID, helper function. Yeah, I wish he gave an example of what that children does. I mean, again, we're local right now, so
right,
we could just copy paste this and see what happens. But let's see. So if we don't input any children, it'll skip all this.
Yeah.
And then it'll drop, what was parent? String parent.
So that's they had that input into the up-down functions down here. That's download token.
And let's see, in the example up here, oh, that's the name of their table. Okay. Why don't you call it table?
I think a lot of times on Stack Overflow, they're making it specifically for the person.
Yes.
So they try and use their...
Yeah, the existing terminology.
Yeah.
Totally. Like, I've answered questions on Stack Overflow where somebody's like, mine's called something different. What do I do? Like,
it's like you change the name, bud.
Yeah, or open up a new question.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, if we ignore the children, that'll ignore the for each loop. And so what it'll do, it'll add ID2 as a GUID. And give it a default value, which is just, I assume this is the SQL command for just auto-generating a new GUID. And then it'll drop the primary key. So it'll drop the ID column. It'll drop... Oh, okay. It drops the primary key, then drops the column. Okay. Drops the primary key, drops the column, renames ID2 to ID. Okay, that's what I was hoping. Okay. And then adds a primary. Yeah, this probably do it.
New ID creates a unique value of type unique identifier. So I think you have to tell it what kind of unique identifier you're using, right? Or is a GUID a type of unique identifier, data type?
I'm assuming GUID is that unique identifier. So let's do this. Let me share this with you, PJ, here in our chat window, so you have the link.
The privy chat. All right, so I'm going to be copying.
Let's see if we can stumble through this.
So where do we need
back to your screen?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, the next question is, how do we integrate this? But I've got some
just
ideas.
Make it its own class and call it.
I would just, so this is just a method. I would add this method to the auto-generated class that we're in right now.
Okay.
And yeah, just slap it in the bottom.
Let's make this easier.
All
right. Boop, stop, beep.
And what I would, let's do this.
Oh, it's in the namespace.
You collapsed too much.
Yep, sure did. Hold on.
Oh, you collapsed the whole class. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll do it.
There we go. There we go.
I was like, wow, we got a lot of red squiggles. So
Yeah, man.
let's do this. Add column. What's that red squiggle? Do we get a light bulb?
Yeah. Generate method.
Don't want to do that.
No. Is this not
what are we
creating
inheriting
it?
from? No, this might be an EF versus EF core thing. Scroll up just a tick. Okay, yeah. Let's use IntelliSense to see if there's an add column ish method. So like if we say that's not helpful. What? We're
What is happening?
not getting any IntelliSense. We can filter by methods. So see those little buttons at the bottom of the IntelliSense window?
Yeah.
I don't know what those icons mean, but one of them means method. So you could click on show only methods. There we go. And then, yeah, even delete that. So just up, down. Remember was okay. So things are totally different for EF core. We're getting closer though. Let's see. So if we look at expand out that down method again, because this will give us some hints.
Alter column?
Dreamcast lover. That's a good question. What are we working on today? We are trying to migrate a database. So
Yeah.
buckle up.
Get ready.
Yes.
Move fast and break things. So I figure alter column, right?
So yeah, it looks like in EF core they moved everything into this migration builder. So let's add that as a parameter to our new method down below. And I would pass it in first. Yeah, just say like migration builder there. And then, yeah, we'll use some IntelliSense. You can call it migration builder. And then don't forget the comma. Nice. So yeah, now let's say migration builder dot. Capitalized it for you.
Come on.
You want the class name, right? Like, no, I want the parameter. All right.
Well, there's a drop column, so there's got to be an add column.
Boom.
So we just had to add the migration builder in there. Okay.
So,
all right. So now we just need to stick migration builder in front of all these add columns.
Maybe. Yeah, let's see if that. Okay, so the add column method's a little different. What does it want?
It wants a type.
So delete that parenthesis and then just re-add the parenthesis and let's see what IntelliSense says. Oh. Okay, so string name, then table. So I assume name is the column name.
I assume so.
So let's swap those two then, because right now we're passing in the table first, then the name, and this one's the name first, then the table.
So we're gonna pass in its ID.
ID 2. So that
we're
basically just swapping those two values. And
did we have it lowercase or?
No, it's right there. You're looking at it.
I am.
Oh. So see, yep.
Okay. I do too.
And then comma, and then delete the other ID 2 that's sitting right there.
Yeah.
Because that's what we just swapped. All right, and then let's bring up that IntelliSense again. All right.
Type.
So there should be like a default value or something like that.
Ooh, bro.
Oh, it looks like they broke it out. So see here, it says nullable colon false.
Yeah.
Well, nullable now exists as a parameter. So like if you type in right now, if you say nullable colon, then you can just say false, and we don't have to go through that lambda. So that's one thing. Oh, why is it yelling at you now? Oh, yeah, you can ignore that for now.
Okay.
That'll fix itself.
Yeah.
And then scroll to the right. What else do we get here with this lambda expression? So there's an identity.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see, does identity also exist? Like basically like how we just did nullable.
Yeah.
Let's spell it right first.
Don't tell me how to type. Let's see.
Does not have a parameter. Pull up that IntelliSense again.
Is there a way to just quickly pull it up?
Control spacebar?
Cool.
But that doesn't give us the method.
That does it for that, yeah.
Delete the comma and put the comma back in after nullable.
Yeah.
That's what I always do.
Let me get this lambda out of here. Hold on. Okay.
Control shift space.
Control shift space does it? All right.
So maybe.
Thank you, just help us.
Yeah, right? That's a cool trick. Let's see. Max length, row version, schema, nullable, default value. We can pass in that because we have a default value. And honestly, you could just cut and paste that code. So the default value SQL colon new ID all the way on the right.
Okay. Default value SQL. Hold on. How do I copy paste this exactly?
No. You're copy pasting the existing code.
Okay.
So here, I'll guide your mouse. Go to the right and highlight default value SQL colon, highlight all of that all the way through the string. God. And then just cut it. And then next to nullable false, paste it and throw in a comma. Boom.
There we go. Thank you.
No problem. Let's also just delete the nullable colon false on the right.
Yep.
Since we already moved that over, that'll make sure we don't duplicate anything. So is there something called identity in here? Scale, stored, schema, row version, default value SQL, fixed length, identity. What does identity mean? I mean, because what we have here, so nullable means it has to have a value.
Mm-hmm.
So like you can't have an empty GUID. Mm-hmm. And then the default is going to be, so I don't know if we need identity. Default.
I mean, should we check, like, be like, what is identity in entity framework?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to do the right thing, look things up before we just break code. I'm thinking, I think it feels like we got everything we need. Like we're defining this new column as a GUID. Or did we define it as a GUID? We haven't defined it as a GUID. Scroll back to the left. Yeah, we never said what this column type is.
Yeah, we never said a type.
Okay, let's Control Shift Space.
Yes. I want to try. No, hold on. I cheated that. I want to do it. Boom!
Wow.
Really, really, really dope. Right.
That's where lasers go.
All right.
So yeah, where do we define string type equals null? Okay. So that must be.
Oh, that should be immediately. Like right after, before nullable false.
So I'm just Googling real quick because I don't know what to put in.
It's like
I don't
that.
know what we would put in for the type.
You just say good and it knows.
Yeah, that's literally the question I have is what are these called? So in the migration, it called it a byte array, but that was just auto-generated code. I don't know if it's right, but let's see. So I'm pulling up the docs here and looking at. So yeah, this is the whatever SQL calls that. So like, let me Google what does SQL call a GUID. Ooh, we're seeing unique identifier. Yeah.
Yeah, it's unique identifier.
That's exactly what Google says too. And hopefully we've spelled that right. I can share this. I don't trust myself.
Oh, that's true. That's what I was looking at before. It was like, type unique identifier.
So hopefully that's a thing. Actually, this doc is from SQL Server. I should probably look up, let's see, MySQL. So MySQL says we can store it as a car 16. Somebody else says car 36. Probably want to find some official docs here. So yeah, it's looking like unique identifiers is a SQL Server thing.
Okay.
But we have MySQL and SQLite. Hopefully they call it the same thing.
Oh, we're praying.
Ugh. I mean, if SQLite takes in a car.
A whole car.
Yeah. Minivans.
Depeche says match it to varchar 64.
Sold. Yeah, I'm seeing varchar in the SQLite doc, so they're good. Let me just double check that in MySQL docs. Ugh. It is tough juggling.
All of it. This is why people usually use one thing.
I know, that's like when I was putting together this pull request. Oh, cool. So you already verified that MySQL matches it to varchar, and I verified that SQLite matches it. Okay. Woo! That feels good. So we are creating a new column called ID2. And let's change this from dbo.parent then an S. Just get rid of the S, and let's even change that variable name. Like right click on parent and just say rename and call it table or table name.
Let's do table name.
Yeah, parent doesn't mean anything to us.
Yeah.
Just from the Stack Overflow answer. And so, yeah, we're creating a column called ID2. In this table, it's going to be a varchar 64. It is not nullable, which means it's mandatory. It has a default value. And then we could delete the rest of that because that's the
rest of the
that's Entity Framework way of doing it. We're on EF Core now because we're cool like that.
And is that all we need?
I'm thinking that's it. Now the next line of code, the else, what is that for?
Okay.
Oh wait, add column's still yelling at us. Do we need to add in that type? Yeah, the add column operation. It's yelling at us for that. So let's see what add column operations there are. I assume that's probably an edem or something. But yeah, do the open angle bracket after add column.
Yeah.
And just start typing in my column, or what is it called? Add column operation? Yeah. And let's see if we get some IntelliSense here. And then dot. Dang. Now we got to figure out add
what
column. operation. How many different operations are there?
Right?
Like add the column.
Add the column.
I don't even. I'm trying to Google this on the fly.
Where do
I'm like,
we
I don't.
start?
Right. Wish I could just see an example of this migration. Let me do that. I'm gonna Google migration builder dot add column and see an example. CLR type that the column is mapped to.
And
would that be a GUID? Oh. Did I just find a blog post? Add column? Yeah, you just put it in a GUID.
Okay.
Hopefully.
There it is.
No more red squiggles?
No more.
All
Just
right.
got to do it down here too. And also, I'm thinking we're going to be getting rid of this for each loop.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like, we don't even need it.
Right. I would just... Let's start with, in the parameters for this method, delete that whole string params at the end.
Okay.
We're not
doing... Like, this is just for...
But... Man. We'll see what breaks, because we do have multiple tables, and I'm pretty sure there are some foreign keys, but we're moving in the right direction. So.
Do you want to keep it for now?
No.
Because if the for each loop doesn't fire, then whatever. But if it needs to fire, we'll have it there.
Yeah. Control Z. All right, so the other thing, I think we can also get rid of this bool to GUID, because like this is why we're calling it.
Right.
So that'll just always be true, which means then we can get rid of that if else block. We want to keep the code we just wrote, but
right.
Just get rid of the if, and then we can delete all that code in the else block because
we just wanted to do this.
Yeah, we're literally migrating to a GUID. And then this for each loop, yeah, maybe we just comment it out for now because there's all that like drop foreign key, drop index, rename column. We have to find the equivalent method name to that. And All right, so down here,
Control KC has been life-changing for me. Thank you for Control KC.
Yeah, right. So here, let's get rid of the S on the dbo.table names.
Got it.
Like we did up there. And yeah, I'll have to do it a couple more times. Okay. And even down there.
Oh god, child names.
All right, so now we have to find the drop primary key method. And so that should live in that migration builder object we're passing in. Let's see if it just drop foreign key, drop primary key. Okay.
Yep.
And
I know I just replaced the same thing.
What do you want IntelliSense?
After, right?
I don't know. What's IntelliSense say? Stop with the angle brackets. And I would just delete that open parenthesis and redo the open parenthesis to bring up IntelliSense. Yeah. Okay, so yep, you're right. It does want the angle brackets, string name, string table, string. Okay, so the name. That's the column name, so that should be ID.
Mm-hmm. And is it ID or ID2?
Right now it's ID.
Okay.
Because that's what we're dropping first.
Yep.
And then, is this happy? Are we still getting red squiggles?
That's happy.
Cool. So moving on to the next one, then yeah, drop column. We'll probably have to swap those values too. Quick complaint. whoever made this API surface layer, these are both strings. And so if you're updating your database from EF to EF core, these strings would still compile, but they're swapped, and it would just break everything.
Why did you switch it?
Yeah, like you should have kept the same order, but like if they were different types, then that would be one thing. But
all right, so yeah, rename column. We're gonna have to take a look at that because
string.
So name table new name.
New name. Okay, so it'd be ID first.
Yeah, ID table ID2. So I could just
Cool.
Then migration builder. Then let's see what you want. Name table column. This is confusing me because...
Yeah, I thought column was the name. What?
This is add primary key.
Hit the down arrow. There is another overloaded method there. Oh, you'll have to hit escape first.
Oh.
Then you can hit the down arrow. Columns.
Oh, even better. You can do an array.
Oh, so actually, down below it says the name is the primary key constraint name.
What is a primary key constraint name? Hold on.
Primary key constraint name.
Uniquely identifies each record in a table.
Well, I mean, that's what the primary key does. It's automatically adding constraints for us? If I don't do it. If I don't want a constraint.
It automatically does it. So there are 6 constraints that a SQL Server... There's 6 main constraints used in SQL Server. SQL not null, unique, primary key, foreign key, check, default. So name should be primary key. Because that's one of the constraints, right?
No clue.
Let me share this with you.
Sure.
You probably found it because I think we were Googling at the same time.
Yeah, I'm looking at... I mean, these are technically SQL Server docs
SQL Shack.
I'm staring at.
Yeah, I'm on SQL Shack.
SQL Shack. So this is also SQL Server, but... Let's see. Constraints. Predefined rules and restrictions that are enforced in a single column.
I found it. That list. It was like, these are the constraints. So if we're looking at...
Maybe just say unique? Or, I mean, but primary keys are unique. What? Not null?
It is ridiculous that for some reason add primary key has string name. Everything else has been, I just checked. Like if I'm looking at drop primary key, down here it says name, the name of the primary key constraint to drop. When we're dealing with keys, it's about the name of the constraint to drop. But for some reason, when we're talking about columns, name is the name of the column. Like, shouldn't there be some better named variables in your methods?
Yeah, or at least don't use the same word.
String, constraint.
Let's see. Add column EF core migration code first. Just going to go way back to the beginning.
Go all the way to the beginning.
Any framework. Want any framework core. Da-da-da. Close ads.
I'd imagine that the constraint in this case is primary key.
Oh, you know what? Let's look at the auto-generated code.
Okay.
Let's see if... Yeah, let's see what they're doing.
Looking at up or down?
Yeah, we can go up.
Okay.
So alter column.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the column name, table, poems, type, tiny in. Okay.
Name, table, type. Default value.
So these are all alter columns. Are they adding any new columns? Oh,
no, we did.
The previous migration would have added columns. Let's go.
Absolutely, it would have. Look at you. Okay. Table new ID name bio table post. Constraints table.primary key PK authors.
There we go.
Is that like that's primary key authors, but it automatically makes it, right? So that's the name of our constraint.
I think so.
PK means primary.
I'm down
key.
to at least try it.
Let's go over this. PK means primary key. Authors means authors. Mono means one. And rail means rail. Your Simpsons quote for the day.
Oh. Monorail. Yeah, let's use that.
Yeah, let's do that. So down here, that's going to be here. And drop primary key.
Mm-hmm.
And add primary key is also.
And then what are the other... So table name and... Column.
Which is ID.
Click with your mouse onto... Yeah, right there on ID. So that'll bring up... Oh.
Sorry.
No, I'm just mad at Visual Studio. So delete the comma before ID, so it'll bring up IntelliSense for this parameter. Yeah. There we go. Now, column that constitutes the primary key. Okay.
And that should be ID2 now, right?
Nope, because the step right above it, we said rename the column back to ID.
Wait, did we? Because the way we structured it is the new name is ID2.
No. Well, so yes, when we create the column, we call it ID2. Mm-hmm. Then we drop the primary key, drop the column ID. Then we rename ID2 to ID.
It is?
So the first line of code we wrote above the comments, that creates a new column called ID2.
Yeah.
To GUID.
That creates that.
Then the next line of code drops the existing primary key. Drops the existing ID column. So now there is no column named ID.
And then this is where I get confused because here, first string name ID, then table, then string new name.
Oh, we messed that up then. Yeah. So new name will be ID. Good catch.
Hey! Hire me. I can tell Brandon when he's wrong.
Nah, that's right.
Okay. And then, yes, now this feels correct.
Oh,
and then
so the answer to your question is both. It's annoying, but yeah, we're locked into a MySQL database for production because that's what we get for free in Azure App Services. But we can't use that for unit testing because it doesn't support in-memory databases. So we're unit testing with SQLite. So we're trying to find common ground between the two. So if both use varchar, great. But if only one uses varchar, then
this
won't work. So we're trying to thread the needle here. So we have SQLite or a SQL database that's compatible with both SQL and SQLite, or both. Yeah. Gosh, I can't even say it. We need it to be compatible with both MySQL and SQLite.
Yeah.
So I guess question. back to you. Can we use varchar64 with SQLite?
Or
And
is it going to yell at us?
I should probably Google that real quick. SQLite, varchar.
I'm going to comment out this.
SQLite takes in. Oh, they both have text. Oh. Then let's make it a text.
Instead of varchar64, where did we do that? Right here. Yep. And that's all caps?
Does it matter? I don't know.
Does it matter? I bet it matters. You'd think there'd be like some case, like up to down case inside these in the back end, but like I don't think anyone does that.
Woo. Okay, so let's see. I'm feeling good with that line of code.
There's a for each here that I commented out because it was about the children.
We don't know what that means.
There are no children.
Okay, so what we do now is we have to run this method. So in the up method, we'll call this first.
Okay.
And then, yeah, let's go ahead and type out that line of code.
What did we call it?
I forgot. Convert?
Yeah. Convert. Okay. Convert. All right. Table name.
So you'll pass in the migration builder. And then I would just see down below, you see it says table name poems.
Yeah.
So this table name will be poems. And then we have another table called authors. Oh, dang. They're going to have different PK constraint.
Aren't they sharing the same PK?
No. Both tables have a unique primary key. But they reference each other's, which is probably why we're going to break stuff.
Yeah. I mean, can we not do it one at a time? Tepeshi, let me make you a VIP so you can actually post links. Sorry about that.
So let's jump back down to the convert method. We need to pass in the parameter for that. I don't know what you want to call it. The PK constraint name.
Welcome to VIP, Tepeshi. Thank you. You can post links now in the chat.
So, yeah, let's go back down to convert.
Okay.
Because instead of hard coding that constraint, we need to pass it in.
Okay.
So instead of PK author, so what do we call this? So for the parameter name, what is this called again? This is
a convert.
Nah.
Oh god, I just deleted it from my history.
What are they calling it in IntelliSense? They just call it name.
They call it name. Primary key constraint name. So the type of constraint that's on the primary, that's on the key.
All right, cool. So then we'll add a parameter to the convert method called primary key constraint name. Because that's how you name your variables. You don't just call it name.
All right. And let's do it at the end here.
No. Before children. Yeah.
Yeah, before children. All right. So it's going to be a string 13. How about I just call it PK constraint name?
Yep, that's cool.
It's a little nicer.
And then yeah, instead of hard coding the constraint name down below, we'll just use that variable instead.
That was a smart fix. It was a really smart fix, Brandon.
Oh, thanks.
I was working on code like all on my own for the Divas Live Twitter bots, trying to figure out a way to use Twit to like work And I was asking like tons of people. I was asking like Andy Piper at Twitter. I was like, hey, I know I'm using Twit and not like your API directly, but is there any way you know what's going on? Because the new bot posts GIFs and videos, which are uploaded differently with the API.
Oh.
It uses a chunked method of uploading, and I was having a hell of a time with it. But I worked through it and got it working. My only issue is there's a reference here. Oh, great. So we need to drop a foreign key.
So, yeah, let's add that code in too. Oh, oh my goodness.
So let's do that. Where should we do that in this?
This is getting messy here.
Primary column rename.
Well, so part of the problem here is this whole convert method is all structured around just one table.
Yeah.
And my guess is we'll have to drop the foreign key from each table first. Then we can do the primary key stuff. Then we come back and do the foreign key stuff.
Is it possible that this is what the children in there is about? If we go look at that Stack Overflow and see how he used it.
I think that's exactly what it is, but I think we'll have just as much of a headache trying to, because none of these method names exist, like this SQL, right. The drop column.
Yeah, we have
and also try to figure out his code. I think we'll have more of a headache trying to refactor that. Okay. So I tell you what, let's change all this up. And instead of having this method down here, because the way this method is scoped doesn't really help us out anymore.
Yeah.
Let's just move all this up into the up method.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll just do this inline. Because trying to refactor this Stack Overflow answer. So yeah, I would copy paste that line here up into be like the first line and up. Because we're going to have to get a little bit more granular. And
so now we're just going to do it all in line up here.
Yep.
So now table name needs to be...
don't change that yet. Let's bring our code up first.
All right,
and
cool.
Then we can walk through it.
Sit down here.
So, yeah, grab these lines.
I mean, it's very nice to have just a single method to be able to call. However...
yeah. So, let's see. Give me a new line after line 12 so we can separate some things here. Because there's a couple things we'll have to do. So we'll have to add the column first, and we'll do that for both tables. So let's do it for both dbo.poems, and then I think the other one's called dbo.authors, but we'll double check that before we get rid of those curly brackets.
Is it going to be...
No. Just get rid of the curly brackets.
Oh.
We're just hard coding the string now because we're not passing in variables.
Oh, yeah. Okay. And then copy this again and just do the same thing, but for authors.
Yeah, but let's scroll down first and see, and just verify what,
yeah, authors.
Yep, cool.
Okay.
Yes, it would be great to use Visual Studio Liveshare.
Do you wanna? We have never done that before, actually. You've always
Yeah. Is there a way you can do it without sharing this with the world since you're live?
Yeah. Go ahead and stop sharing my screen, I guess, in case it pops up to be like, hey, here's your key. Oh, it just copies the link to the clipboard. Like, it doesn't even show it. It just copies it to my clipboard.
Cool.
There you go. I remember we used to do this before we would go live. Before we were doing this on Twitch is how we used to do this, is we would be working the same thing. No, we used Teams. And I gave you control of my screen.
We did use Teams. Good stuff. All right, now I have to remember how to use Visual Studio Liveshare. Da, 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 da.
Not the terminal. Don't end. Don't view the Liveshare window. I just want to make sure, like when you scroll, I know that I did this in VS Code with Chloe. I look. I'm going to talk to my sister, who's an artist. I'm going to have her make me some emotes for y'all, so you can use it.
Cool.
That's so like on the list of things I need to do is get some custom emotes for this page. I actually already have. I think my channel points are called Mets Bucks. I changed that the other day.
Awesome.
All right, how you doing? You coming in?
It says I'm connecting. There's a little progress bar. It says I'm joining. I'm waiting for the host approval.
Oh, I don't know.
Did you get a pop-up or something? You've got a red bell down in the corner.
That's my source control stuff.
Oh, there it is.
Oh wait, what? You're in.
I'm in.
Anonymous.
Whose cursor is that?
That's my cursor. I got the big cursor.
Why is that even showing up? Let's see. Oh, I can't edit. I'm in read only.
Oh, that's not what I want. Hold on. Guest user. Not read only.
Oh, did you give me a read only link?
I might have. All right, hold on. Get out of here. Sharing.
I just got kicked out.
That's right. I said not allowed. Share terminal read and write. But not the terminal. Hold on. I just opened up a shared terminal. Copy link. Do-do-do. Do-do-do.
Dun, 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 dun.
Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun. So I've got like the option to share my terminal read only. Hold on. Available. Focus participants, manage shared servers. I've got copy link, and then when I give you the link, I bet it's going to be the same link though. I wish there was a way to just like turn you into, yeah, it's the exact same link. I just want to turn you into being allowed to.
Yeah, let me join back in. Maybe there was something there.
I just kicked you out too quickly, maybe.
Story of my life.
All right. It says anonymous and read only.
Yep. I see I'm read only again.
Follow participant. So, no, I don't want to follow you. My only options are to follow you.
Well, that's not good.
Yeah.
And under sharing, you don't have like on the top right.
Sharing is copy link manage shared servers. Maybe.
That doesn't
No.
look like it.
The only thing I can share read and write is the terminal.
Something's not right. I mean, I see
Yeah.
you have an update available for Liveshare, but anyways, let's get back to the code. This isn't working.
Yeah. This isn't working. I'm done. Get out of here. Goodbye. Let's get back to. Get out of here.
We can hack our way through it.
Yeah. All right. There we go. You're really good at telling me what to type. So.
All right. So we've added both columns.
Mm-hmm.
And so what Depeche was saying was that we need to drop the foreign key. And so I'm thinking that we should do this before we drop the primary keys, because you can't have a foreign key without a primary key. And so we'll also have to figure out what our foreign keys are called.
And here it is again. The name of the foreign key constraint to drop.
Right. So yeah, let's go back to that previous migration, or the initial migration, and see if there's a foreign key in there somewhere. Yep.
FK Poems author ID.
Of course, just like I would have guessed.
Exactly what I would have thought it would be. Thanks.
And which table that's in?
That's in.
Scroll up a little bit, where it says create table.
Poems.
This is poems. Okay. So we're only doing this in the poems table.
Yep. So that's the name. Then the table is poems, and that's it.
And it should be fine. And then let's do a new line after that. Because now we're getting into... Okay. So yeah, now we should be able to drop both primary keys. So we'll need to do that twice. And I would do a new line. Yeah, exactly.
I like new lines.
Yeah. All right, so yeah, go grab those constraint names again. And I would copy paste them because these are all hard-coded strings. If there's an uppercase and we put it in lowercase.
So if we're looking at the authors table, it's PK authors. If we're looking at the poems table, it's PK poems. So that's good, but here we go. All right. PK authors, and the table name is authors.
Right on. We just have an extra, yeah.
It's being silly.
Same with poems.
I know you said to copy paste, but I'm lazy.
Hey, man. It's your app. Okay, so we've got, and then we drop the columns. So let's do that twice.
Jeezy crazy. You said today was going to be easy, Brandon. That's not true. You never said that at all.
Entity framework migrations? I don't know. Is there anybody in the world that says, oh, yeah, code first, EF core migration?
I can do that. I can do that in
a
weekend. Easy. So we're dropping the column, and that's asking for it's the table name. So that's going to be authors, and that's going to be poems. It's nice to do it in the same order every time, except up here we didn't. So I'm going to change that real quick. There we go. Okay.
All right. Let me rename them.
Authors.
So while you're typing that out, I'm just add some commentary. I noticed I've got a new setup this week. I've got a monitor here, so that's why I'm looking off to the side. Normally I'd just be looking down at my laptop, but I noticed that it works perfectly with how our floating heads are set up, because it looks like I'm looking to the left at your code here in the screen.
That's awesome.
It'd be really cool if my eye line also followed it perfectly. I'm like, I don't know. You see where I'm looking there on line 26?
Yeah, you see it. Yeah, and then oh man, yeah, we get like an eye tracking app installed on you and
Visual Studio, Liveshare, eye tracking.
That's right.
There won't be any concerns about that.
None, dude. Eye tracking already is like terrible. Hey, Lobster.
Hi.
Sorry, this is a long stream.
Oh, it's okay.
My wife, everyone.
She's amazing.
She is amazing. You're right, Brandon. I mean, I said it. I said you're amazing. You didn't say it first. I love you. Thank you. All right, there we go. We've done it all twice.
And now we need to add in the foreign key. Oh, you didn't tell her about community time. Earlier on in the stream, you're saying that Anne would love that pun.
Oh, that's right. That's right. It's a good pun. No, I said Chloe would love that pun.
Who doesn't love puns?
Who doesn't love puns, really? All right.
So yeah, now it's migration builder dot add foreign key. And then we haven't looked at this one yet. So
yeah, that's it. So the name is the constraint name.
So the table, the same one we dropped earlier.
Principal table. Okay.
Cool. So yeah, that foreign key name we have, yeah, we can copy paste that. And then we could probably copy paste some stuff from the previous or the initial migration as well. Yeah, table we can copy paste from above as well. Because that's the author, no, poems table.
Here's the foreign key stuff. So column X such that X is author ID. Should we just copy this stuff, right? Like it asks for the column, it's going to be this. We ask for the principal table, it's this. Principal column.
Slightly different API, which again, please keep your APIs consistent. But yeah, that principal table name, principal column, I think we can copy that. I think I saw that in IntelliSense.
So that's authors and capital ID. That's good. Okay, so let's see what comes next. This is table. And that's going to be not the principal table. It'll be the other table then, right?
Right. That'll be poems.
Poems. Column is ID. And principal table is authors. Is that it? Those are all strings?
Yeah, let's double check. Go back to that initial migration again. Yeah, principal table. Okay, cool.
And for column, because it's principal column, I just want to make sure we're just saying ID and we don't have to, obviously it's asking for a string, so it's not going to be.
Yeah, we can't do that Lambda syntax.
Yeah. Okay.
Would be nice. Then it'd be type safe. The only thing I don't see here is what column are we aligning it to in the other database? So like we have the principal table name.
The initial column names have to be the same, don't they? No, it doesn't. It's author ID in one and ID in another.
It's so bring up IntelliSense again, because yeah, it feels like we're missing something. Schema, probably principal column. And that should also be ID. That's my guess. And that would match that.
Principal column would be author ID, wouldn't it?
So if you go back and look at that initial migration, see that principal column there, ID?
Yeah. Okay.
That's what kind of cued me into all this stuff. So yeah, let's do that on this one, and let's say, so we can add a comma after authors and just say principal column colon, and that should also be ID.
Easy crazy.
Tab to complete, man.
Listen, I know.
You'll eventually you won't be able to live without it. That's how I.
Yeah, I'm sure. Right now,
there's no tab to complete. I have to type everything.
What is this? The Stone Age?
Okay. So then the last thing we got to do, this auto-generated code. There's an alter column, and we want to delete those because there's that auto-generated code to change the column, and that's where the code was failing.
Okay.
We just did that ourselves. So not this one, because that's the update of that timestamp. Is verified. There's ID.
Okay. Oh God. Should I comment it out or should I delete it?
I mean, we're definitely not going to alter it anymore because we just created it by hand. So
right.
Yeah. Fine. Comment it out. But we're going to come back and delete the comments before we commit this code.
No problem. Nice and clean.
Something I just noticed. Scroll up just a tick. Yeah, that author ID. And you said this a second ago. Yeah, I'm putting the pieces together now.
Because that's here.
Here's my thinking. Yeah, here we go.
Author ID stays consistent.
The
one that needs to...
You're totally right. So yeah, in that the foreign key part, it's not ID. One of those has got to be author ID.
But which one? I'd
So
imagine. So which one is the principal column? That's what it was named before, was ID.
so
That makes me think column.
yeah, that one I think that one should be author's ID because if the principal database is authors, then the principal column should be the column in that. I'm sorry, the principal table.
Yes. Yeah.
So and then that has a
Author
capital
ID.
A.
Capital A, yeah.
But let's look at the initial migration and see what that column. Okay, capital A. Yep.
Yep. Okay.
I'm exhausted.
Right? And like this is not even this is the start of your day. I'm so sorry.
Like, we're still guessing. And I gotta do taxes later. Oh.
Oh no. How
It's
about
all
after this? Like I know that we have literally not run it once since we ran it at the beginning. But like after we run this, I'm fine with being done. And if we have to start where we started again, we'll have already tried something and we really put a lot of hard work into it, and that's fine by me.
That's right.
As long as
we do.
Go ahead.
I would say we do need to still comment some more code down below. Like we only commented out one of those alter columns. There should be another alter column for.
Why is this highlighted?
Oh, okay. You have a breakpoint there on the left. I forgot. We have to change. If you scroll up. Oh God, this changes everything.
Updated that?
Author ID is also got to become a new column. If you scroll down just a little bit, you'll see. So see this here? This is going to alter author ID from an int to a GUID. So we have to do that above as well.
So we have to do that for author ID. So let's try that next week. It's late. It's late in the day for me.
If you have time, I'd rather knock this out.
You want to do it?
Forget. Okay. Yeah, the problem is we're going to forget everything. So
it's taking all of this and doing it again for author ID.
Not all of it, but like that add column, we have to copy paste one of those lines of code and add that in for author ID. Yeah.
Wait.
I'll walk you through it. So copy line 12.
Yeah, no. Hold on. Because now I'm thinking. So we need to change. So we're changing in the poems table. We're changing ID to a GUID and author ID to a GUID.
Oh, but author ID needs to match it. So yeah, this is going to be a next week thing.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Because what's going to happen is we're going to create this new column, and all these new values are going to be generated.
Mm-hmm.
But then we have to create the new column in author and figure out how to get those values in. So, all right, let's put a bow on today's stuff then. So let's scroll down and comment out the other alter columns for author ID and comment out the alter column for author's ID. Because I don't think we did that one yet. Yep,
this one. Hold on. What are you doing? What are you... My mouse has been really tricky lately.
And then at the top, let's throw in a comment here.
Sure.
That tells us what we need to do. So and then we also need to ensure that author ID matches the newly generated ID. I guess we could say ID2 because that's what it's going to be called in the next line of code. So what we can probably do is I don't know. Because so what I'm looking at is we have that default value SQL. And instead of just saying a new, like generate a new one, that default value.
For the old one.
It's kind of what I'm thinking. Yeah, like write a SQL query that does it, but then how do you write a SQL query that does it? Like I know how to do it individually. Like select this for this column where, but
yeah.
Dang.
I know it's text wrapping and you don't like it, but new GUID instead of creating a whole new GUID for author ID. There we go.
Uh-oh. Pesci. Did somebody already do it for us?
Here's what I'm going to do. With an inline SQL in migration builder.
Boom.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, let's save what we got so far. So save all these changes and go ahead and commit them to that PR.
Okay, we are in PR7. There's the changes we've made. Okay. And this is working to generate GUIDs for keys.
And we're going to leave y'all hanging.
That's right. This means you have to come back next week.
Actually, I just remember I can't stream next week, so in 2 weeks.
We'll have plenty of time to know what we're talking about by then. All right.
Well, I've completely forgotten about everything.
I'm just going to let the title speak for itself on this one.
Yep. And then just don't forget to push it after you commit it.
Always, always, always. Push to Brandon Minnick's desktop.
That's right. Because you're changing my branch.
That's right, I am.
And my fork.
Come on, your fork changing your branches. All right.
Woo! Well,
that's the show.
We definitely learned a lot today.
Oh man, and honestly, like it's reinforcing a lot of good stuff for me. That I can't tell you how much like the stuff we've done came in handy for me when I was working on that Divas live code. So this is all good stuff.
Nice.
2 weeks, y'all. We'll be back. Next week we're taking off because Brandon has he's got I don't know. He's saving the planet or something. He's secretly Batman. I just ruined it. I'm sorry. He's not actually Batman. I'm a liar. He's not. Don't even. What? Like, why would he be Batman? That's crazy. Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you later.
Bye, everybody.